And now selling real estate here is super exciting because I've always loved the charm of older homes and all the historic buildings that we have in our area. There's so much history. Bethlehem and Easton were both settled in the mid 1700s. So it's just rich with history, and I just love that about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Have you been thinking about moving to Pennsylvania, more specifically the east side of Pennsylvania? In this clip, I'm going to introduce you to Tara. Tara is a wonderful agent that works and lives in a city named Bethlehem. As you can imagine, it's a beautiful city. I have a family that live in the neighboring city, and my youngest daughter went to school out there, so I'm very, very familiar with the area, very in love with the area. And as we talk about in this clip, it's very close to major cities, so you kind of have that convenience of going into those cities for, your fancy restaurants or entertainment, and then coming back to your beautiful city of Bethlehem. Message me for her info, or I'll also have it at the end of the video. Have a great day. Hi guys, Kim Cross, your Crosstown Realtor, and I'm here with Tara today to share. As I mentioned, I have agents that I work with throughout the country, and Tara is from Pennsylvania, and she's from an area that I actually really appreciate a lot. As I mentioned, Tara, I have family that live close to you, and my daughter went to school in that area, so I absolutely love it there. And real quick, I have to share. So like I said, I have family that lives there, and I remember when I was raising my kids, I've never lived any place but California. And I'm like, oh, it's, it snows there, it's cold, it's got to be kind of restrictive. But my friend that lived there had 3 kids, and her kids are doing everything my kids are doing. They were in brownies, they were in gymnastics, they were in every sport. And I'm like, oh, I would like to live there. Yes. And then like us, you guys are close to big cities. You're close to Philly and you're close to New York.
And we have 4 seasons, which is fun.
my youngest daughter loves that. All right, so I'm going to stop talking now. And if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about your area and the market there.
Sure. So I'm in southeastern Pennsylvania, and we're in an area called the Lehigh Valley. There are 3 bigger cities in the Lehigh Valley: Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. If you've heard the song Billy Joel sang about Allentown, that is us. It was about how downtrodden Allentown is, but that was in the 80s, and things have really turned around. We're in a great central location. In fact, I just did a video about how close we are to 5 major cities. So we are about an hour to an hour and a half from Philly, depending on where you are in the valley. We are about an hour and a half or less to New York City, about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to Baltimore. We're close to DC by 3.5 hours, and then Boston is less than 5 hours away. So we're in this great little hub in the Northeast, and we're not a small area. Actually, our area of Lehigh Valley has about 840,000 people, which is bigger than Boston. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not small, but it's also not, it's not a metropolis, as you would say.
And like we were discussing, I kind of like that type of area because you can go to New York City and see a play or whatever, spend the day or send friends.
You can do a day trip to Philly or New York. I mean, you can literally go just for the day. It's super easy. Yeah.
And then you come back to your town that's not filled with craziness, right?
Yes, exactly. Like this nice hometown kind of light and airy feel where not everything is congested. It's a great place to be.
That's wonderful. That's exactly how I mean, like I said, I've been there, I've visited quite often, and I really like it there. So, and as we were talking about too, you've lived in California, you've lived in New York, and still you went back and chose to make your home in Bethlehem.
I did. As I was saying before, I grew up in Bethlehem, which is about 18 miles from home, because when I moved back to this area, my parents still live in the house I grew up in, 18 miles away. And my mom's mantra was she was gone for 18 years and now she's 18 miles, because it was exactly the distance between my house in Easton and her house in Bethlehem.
Oh, that's great.
When I left, I never thought I would come back here. I just thought I was too much of a city girl. I would never come back here. But after 18 years of being gone and the changes that we've seen in the valley, it's just, I'm thrilled to live here. I absolutely love it. And now selling real estate here is super exciting because I've always loved the charm of older homes and all the historic buildings that we have in our area. There's so much history. Bethlehem and Easton were both settled in the mid 1700s. So it's just rich with history, and I just love that about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right. Well, I won't keep you, but thank you so much for coming on here and chatting with me. And as I mentioned, I'm going to put your info below. So if any of you guys are thinking about, you know, Pennsylvania, especially like the east side of Pennsylvania, we'll have them get in touch with you, Tara. And
yes, come on over. I'd love to
like
show you around
I
the
think
valley.
it's a wonderful area. I think you have, like I said, you have like access to everything, and you have 4 seasons. The one thing we miss out on here in California. And you probably have huge houses and lots of land and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you guys would not even believe how far in your money in California would go in Pennsylvania. I mean, I'm talking like a house that you'd see here, a 4-bedroom, kind of like a mini, you know, like a little, the McMansions, as they used to call them, like a newer, if you're into newer builds, you could get a house like that for $500,000, and it would be at least 1.5 million in, depending, you know, if you're in the LA area. I mean, more. It's just it's just insane, and that's for like 4,000 square feet and even a pool. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, we've got like our condominiums, I think, are getting close to 500,000 now, so it's crazy. It's crazy.
If you want a house and you want a yard and you want a pool, come east.
Perfect.
We've got it all.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Pleasure,
Thank you.
Kim.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.